everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Jesus is coming. Every day we are looking at some of the signs that are happening around us. In this episode, we are going to see about the strange things that are happening on the sky.
July 20, 2019 marked the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 mission, the first manned mission to land on the moon. In the previous episode, we saw a reason for the ambition of US space exploration. Today, let's find out how the Apollo 11 mission was completed.
US President Kennedy's deadline is now less than 4 years away. All attention must focus on the colossal challenge of the Apollo program and landing a man on the moon before the decade is out. By the time the Gemini program closes, the design and construction of the Apollo hardware is well underway, incorporating all the necessary capabilities to perform and support a lunar mission. These immensely technical missions who need highly trained astronauts to pilot them. Suddenly, you have got a spacecraft system that has got two independent spacecraft that are critical elements. You have got a command module that's the only part to come back to Earth. That's your main living quarters for your astronauts and stay orbiting the moon. And then you got lunar module, this incredibly flimsy and yet capable vehicle that gets two astronauts down to the lunar surface and back again to run this bus with the command module orbiting. So, you can see the levels of complexity there, and by having 3 crew members in a 2 spacecraft configuration, it's clear that one person could not learn everything. And that's why the specialization of roles was absolutely critical once astronauts were assigned to Project Apollo. As a result, command module pilots, flight specialists, simulators, practicing docking, navigation, and other Earth orbit and lunar orbital flights, while the commanders and lunar module pilots perfect their delicate landing procedures in lunar module simulators.
The most devious, Machiavellian, outrageously disgraceful people you can ever encounter in a training program are known as simulator supervisors, SimSubs. Their job is to conjure up every sort of nasty that can ever be thrown at a crew under the sun, and to mercilessly put the crew through the most agonizing technical, emotional, and psychological stress they can possibly impose, and sit back and watch how they cope with it.
This grade of gentleman is crucial to the whole training process. You want to get hold of them and strangle them. But they are vital because they stress the crews beyond the limits they know that they are capable of. And it's that undiscovered area of astronaut potential with SimSub groups to find new ways of working out solutions. So they are important. SimSubs are okay.
To train astronauts how to fly and land on the lunar surface, the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle is developed. This training aircraft replicates how the lunar module will operate in the weaker gravity of the moon. Once they moved on to Apollo, a whole new phase of training needed to be accomplished. Now, of course, they needed to learn how to land on the moon. What they designed was called the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle. It is effectively a big engine with as light a framework around it, and the controls that emulate flying low at a reasonable descent rate, making sure that you have got sufficient resources to allow pretty realistic training and practice of the routine landing. It was an incredibly faithful reproduction in control terms of the lunar excursion module, and therefore was in very important training results. But these machines are unstable and difficult to fly even for the best pilots America has to offer. 3 of the 5 built are destroyed in crashes.
A couple of accidents occurred, using that including Neil Armstrong in 1968, where he had at the fraction of a second to reject before the vehicle crashed in flames. So it's a highly dangerous vehicle, and certainly the training on the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle helped prepare the astronauts who flew the lunar module for landing on the moon.
However, landing is not enough. Once down on the moon, astronauts will have to exit their spacecraft and walk on the lunar surface. Project Apollo is about getting onto the moon operating on the lunar surface. The difference on the lunar surface is that you have got 1/6 of the gravity field strength as on Earth. So it was realized that somehow we need to be able to replicate 1/6 gravity conditions. One of the most dramatic ones was suspending from a rig where you lie horizontally and you walk along a wall suspended by a series of bungees, and the bungees provide you with just about the right restoring force against the wall to allow you to practice your various forms of walking and ambulation, the body hops, and all this kind of stuff in a relatively realistic environment. October 1968, NASA launches Apollo 7, the first manned mission of the program to rigorously flight test the new 3-manned command module in Earth orbit. 2 months later, Apollo 8 conducts the first manned flight test of the Saturn V rocket. Apollo 8 is also the first mission to fly to the moon, where the crew conducts tests of the command module in lunar orbit. The mission successfully trials the navigation and guidance procedures vital for a moon landing. March 1969, Apollo 9 performs the first test of the lunar module. The crew successfully docked the command and lunar modules in Earth orbit for the first time. May 1969, Apollo 10 returns to the moon. The mission runs a full rehearsal of the lunar landing, flying just 8 miles above the surface. With all testing complete, the stage is now set to attempt a lunar landing.
July 1969, Apollo 11 is going for a launch. After almost a decade of dedication, NASA has won the race to the moon, and astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first of only 12 men to walk on the lunar surface.
And now it's time for the trivial question of the day. Which Bible verse was read in the space for the first time?
Option A, Genesis 1. Option B, Psalms 23. Option C, John 1.
The answer will be after a short break.